Vera Ellen was one of the most popular dancers to ever appear in Hollywood and Broadway musicals. She was a capable and charming actress who could effortlessly match and arguably even outdance many of the leading men of her era. She experienced the height of her fame in the 1940s and 50s, but unfortunately her fame quickly faded, and now her name is one that few remember. So whatever happened to Vera Ellen? Join Facts First as we explore this fascinating topic. We'll cover not only her astounding life story, but also a few reasons why she chose to leave Hollywood. A star is born. Vera Ellen Westmeyer Rowe was born in Norwood, Ohio, a suburb of Cincinnati, on February 16, 1921. Her father, Martin Rowe, was a humble piano dealer, and her mother, Alma Westmeyer, was a homemaker. She came from a family that descended from German immigrants. Her mother chose to give her a hyphenated name after having a dream in which she saw her name, quote, in the lights. Vera Ellen started dancing at age 10 and quickly became quite adept at it. One of her fellow dance school students at the Hessler Studio of Dancing was none other than Doris Day. When she was 13, Vera Ellen was one of the winners of the radio program Major Beau's Amateur Hour, thus kicking off her professional career. She made her debut on Broadway in the 1939 Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein musical Very Warm for May. She then earned a spot as the youngest member of the Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall. This led to her being cast in Broadway productions of A Connecticut Yankee, By Jupiter, and Panama Hustle. After being spotted by Hollywood producer Samuel Goldwyn, she was cast opposite Danny Kaye in the 1945 movie Wonder Man. In that film, Vera Ellen's singing was dubbed over, but she did provide her own vocals on the original cast album for the 1943 Broadway production of A Connecticut Yankee. She danced alongside Gene Kelly in the Hollywood musicals Words of Music and On the Town. She also made an appearance in the 1949 Marx Brothers film Love Happy. And in 1951, she starred in the musical comedy Happy Go Lovely alongside Cesar Romero and David Niven. The following year, she received top billing alongside co-star Fred Astaire in the musical Three Little Words. In 1952, she starred opposite Astaire once again in the musical The Belle of New York. She then co-starred with Donald O'Connor in the Walter Lang-directed musical film Call Me Madam. It was all downhill after White Christmas. Vera Ellen was cast in her next-to-last role in the 1954 box office hit White Christmas, in which she starred alongside Danny Kaye, Bing Crosby, and Rosemary Clooney. After that, she wrapped up her film career with a final role in the 1957 British film Let's Be Happy. The reason for Vera Ellen's disappearance from the world of cinema is contested. When she was in her 30s, she became shockingly thin. Her unhealthy eating habits were very well documented. She was also very reclusive. It's rumored she started to withdraw from Hollywood after her alleged struggles with anorexia had begun to take their toll on her physically and emotionally. It's also worth noting that her departure coincides with a time when Hollywood had begun to slow down on making musicals. Even though she could act, MGM didn't seem to take her talents very seriously. Soon they had stopped offering her roles altogether. For the remainder of the 50s, Vera Ellen was a relatively frequent guest star on TV variety show programming, but even those gigs dried up. Her final performances were on an episode of The Perry Como Show in 1958 and a broadcast of The Dinah Shore Show in 1959. After that, she retired from performing. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. And stick around for a lot more about Vera Ellen. Why she always covered her neck. If Vera Ellen had indeed suffered from an eating disorder, it wouldn't be surprising that she would have faced some unwanted side effects. Back in the day, there was a persistent Hollywood rumor that she always covered her neck during the filming of White Christmas because of the wrinkling that was caused by her anorexia. While eating disorders can definitely take a toll on one's body in fairly troubling ways, production photos and videos from around this time show Vera Ellen's neck was normal and undamaged. So the reason why she always seemed to be covering her neck during filming remains a mystery. Bill Dennington, one of her close friends who knew her throughout the last 20 years of her life, has likewise dismissed this rumor as being nothing more than baseless speculation. He further claimed Vera Ellen wasn't the dancer with anorexia that people thought of her. To him, she was just a fabulous dancer who had been overlooked. Her niece, Leanna Rothschild, who was born in 1967, remembered her as someone who never stopped dancing or taking dance lessons, and that she merely maintained her slim figure as an avid swimmer. Rothschild, like Dennington, denies she ever had an eating disorder. Vera Ellen's marriages. Vera Ellen married twice throughout her life. Her first was to fellow dancer Robert Hightower. They married in 1941 and divorced 5 years later. Her second marriage was to millionaire Victor Rothschild of the famous Rothschild family. They were wed in 1954 and divorced 12 years later. While she was married to Victor, Vera Ellen gave birth to a daughter named Victoria. Sadly, she passed away from SIDS in 1963 when she was just 3 months old. After her only child died, Vera Ellen completely withdrew from the public eye. In her later years, she suffered from severe arthritis. To combat it, she continued to take dancing lessons. Even so, she spent the remainder of her years completely shut off from the rest of Hollywood. On August 13, 1981, at age 60, Vera Ellen died of cancer in Los Angeles. She was buried at the Glen Haven Memorial Park in Sylmar, California. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think Vera Ellen deserved better than how she was treated by the entertainment industry? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.